So Karen Renee, I'm so excited to have you here today. I just love you so much. And I think it's been 2 years I've gotten to know you so far. And let's just hop right into joy.
Mm.
So, what I've been asking and what I'd love to hear from you first is just, how would you define joy? Because we all have a different definition. And I'm just curious how you define it. What that means to you. How would you describe what joy is?
So when I received this question, I thought to myself, well, joy, the word joy, the experience of joy has been kind of elusive for me for much of my life. Um, I grew up in an environment where feeling emotions was challenging. Expressing true emotion was challenging for me, and I didn't always know, like in my body, what emotions I was feeling, and I was suppressing a lot of emotion. So the actual expression of joy seemed limited to me from the result of just like suppressing emotion. And though, as I've become older and worked to start clearing out old traumatic energies from my body and being, I'm understanding more clearly what joy is. And I have defined it this way. I feel it as an ecstatic state of energy that flows through my body when I experience something that lights up my soul or my highest essence.
Mm.
So, this beautiful surge of energy, and that can come about from a variety of things. I mean, it could be a beautiful flower that I come in contact with. It could be, the excitement of meeting someone new and meeting someone like yourself eye to eye and recognizing each other on a soul level. It could be when I do my work and I see someone finally getting it, the joy or the beauty of their own self-expression.
Mm.
So it's that ecstatic state,
Yes, yes,
surge of energy that feels yummy.
yeah. It feels yummy. Yes, and I just as you're describing that, it really is. It's something that emanates and it builds, and it's just here. It's in you. It's not
Mhm.
because of something, but I think it's a saying yes to something. I don't know, but yes, I love how you're bringing that forward here.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you think, and you described a little bit just now, in your past having suppressed emotion,
Mhm.
but what would you say has been a block to experiencing joy most, recently or just throughout your life? Has there been something that you've noticed that was kind of the biggest block to it, to experiencing?
You know, as I tap into my childlike wonder, my inner child is like so excited about, especially with creativity and art and expression. I think there may have been times when my really sweet essence, childlike wonder essence, came bursting out that someone's like, that's not okay.
Mm,
Like, you're being silly.
right.
Even sometimes my husband, mistakenly, sees those bursts as being immature or labels that something or is embarrassed by my exuberance,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
so that energy will cause me to go, oh, too much.
Yeah. Hmm.
And just sort of, oh, pull it back because that's uncomfortable for them and I don't want to make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm learning with age to not care.
The beauty of age.
To just get to a place where getting back to what brings me joy, what makes me feel good,
Mhm.
and really allow myself to have those things in my life,
Mhm.
and stand up for myself when someone, you know, does
Yeah.
that. Hmm.
Yeah. So that block being letting anyone else have an opinion or anything about what your joy, what your that energy, not shutting it down when somebody comes in and says this, and this, right? And I
Yes.
think that that's common, a shared experience for sure. I know for myself, I know for many women watching this, um, there's something about, I've even heard clients say, joy is, um, something that is an afterthought, or that's only if I do X, Y, or Z do I get to have that.
Mm.
It's almost like it's been put in this category. I don't know if you've seen this, of the same as of rest. Like joy and rest, these things are things we have to earn or work
Mm.
for, or
Mhm.
they're like, but I think it's really the opposite. And I think that's, I hope, what we can share with women is that it's time to flip that and
Mhm.
make experiencing of joy and things like rest actually our priority. And then that moves us in a whole new energy in our life.
Yes.
So I think that that is such a beautiful thing you're bringing forward to notice, is that a lot of people don't have that definition yet, or they haven't prioritized that. So they will come in and say, that's silly.
Yes.
And it's not.
And the fact that it's like, it's joy is a now moment feeling.
Yeah.
Joy is an energy that surges through you when you are fully present with something that lights you up.
Yes. Absolutely. That just moved through me when you said that. I'm like, oh, yes,
Oh yeah,
it's in the
right.
now. It's in the now. And no matter what's going on around you, you have a choice to be in that,
Yes.
right?
Turn it on or turn it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that I consciously did this year, in cultivating what brings me joy, paying attention to, like after a whole year of 2020 of isolation and working through, sadness and grief and whatever around what was happening, I also was like, what really brings me joy? What brings me happiness? And I know that flowers have always brought me joy, the abundance of blooms and the varieties and the colors. And to me, that's just kind of like an expression or a garden of humanity. Like we're all these flowers. And so we had, year after year, we were trying to cultivate a vegetable garden, and our soil was just not working. And we'd toil and we work hard, and I'd have to and we just wouldn't get out of it all of the energy we put into it. So I made a conscious decision this year that I was going to create from that vegetable garden a flower garden instead, a beautiful sanctuary, a little mini Garden of Eden. And so I'm cultivating, and my husband and I are working together on it, to make a flower garden and stop trying to force something to happen that just wasn't resulting in what we needed.
Yeah.
One of the things that I shared with you earlier that I want to share with everybody else is my awareness of when you are cultivating a flower garden and you have all of these beautiful blooms that come, there are dead blooms on the vine, on the stalk that I call deadheading. In the morning, I'll go out and I'll look at each one of the plants and I will remove the ones that are dying or dead so that the plant doesn't keep trying to feed something that no longer is needed,
Mm.
that it's time for it to pass, time for it to go. And so that the energy can continue to move to the places that where the blooms are just about to come forward, or where they're just fully showing themselves. So I think it's important for us to know that's a process of cultivating joy too, is allowing ourselves to let go of the things that are no longer
Yes.
there,
Growing and
right?
serving, meant to
Yeah.
grow.
Yes. Yes.
I love that. It's such a gorgeous analogy of, like you said, like not forcing something to grow when it's not, almost like those things, the environment wasn't right for that. The environment wasn't that wasn't its even environment. And we try to do that in our own life, force something to grow because we think we should grow that should be something I grow.
Yeah.
And then it feels hard and we're forcing and all the things. And
Mhm.
you were like stepping back saying, what wants to grow here?
Yes.
What wants to grow here? And then how can I clear the path so it can grow just like we do in our own lives.
Mhm.
So that's such a beautiful analogy. And then that the fact that you can look in your own backyard and see it every day happening is
And the butterflies are coming, and the hummingbirds come, and the bluebirds come, and everybody's so
right.
so do the chiggers and the
Yeah.
mosquitoes. But you know what? It's like it brings me joy. I just continual joy as opposed to like, oh no, So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's really, really important for us as women, uh, to allow ourselves to like, what is it that makes me happy? What was it as a child that I loved? And then how do I start cultivating that in my world slowly, without too much pressure,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
seeing what fruits from that.
Yes. So much. So I want you to say a little bit about what became possible for you when you were more in this energy of joy. What's become more possible for you?
So I call it manifesting, womanifesting. What possibilities, what I finally am understanding is like being able to create uh, the things that we want sort of requires a level of like magnetized, that beautiful energy or that ecstatic state of joy helps draw to us the things that, or the situations or the people that we want, that will continue to help us bloom. And and so I recognize that there was an example of something that I've been like on a physical realm that I've wanted for years, like 4 or 5 years. I've wanted a Ford Transit Connect. I love the name of the vehicle, connecting people. And what I wanted it for was a big, big sort of space for me to travel and go to festivals and share frame drum wisdom, which is my work, and feel comfortable driving, across the country or wherever I was meant to go. And it was so clear to me that that was the car I was supposed to have. But financial situations sort of over the last, number of years have really kept it away from my, as a possibility. I wasn't really clear. But for some reason last year, I started getting like, oh no, it's coming up. Once the space opens up and people are moving again, I am traveling. I'm sharing my wisdom farther and wider. And so it was very clear to me. And so I started to like feel myself driving in that car. I started to see that car in my driveway. I went over to the Ford dealership last year and I got in one and I drove it around. So it was like I started really embodying the joy and potential of that thing. And by October, miraculous things happened that aligned us to be able to purchase that car. And it's just, it works. It works.
It does.
I also need to say that there are times, and we shared about this earlier, is that when you're in alignment and in joy, and you know from the deepest level of your being, you will be tested. You will still be tested. Like, are you sure this is what you want? Are you sure here's this other thing? And my husband, brought home a different car than the Ford Transit Connect, thinking that I would call it would be acceptable. And I was like, no, that is not my car. I know what my car is, and I will not waver from the joy that car is going to bring me.
Wow. I love that story so much. Yes. Yes.
But that car he brought home now is his joy. It's like, here and he's driving it.
That's wonderful for you. And that's not my joy. gonna keep my sights focused. And I love that
Yes.
you said, you put yourself in the energy and you saw it and you felt it and you knew it and you decided. I mean,
Yes.
it was not just something that fell out of the sky.
Mhm.
You did the work, if
Yeah.
you want to call it work.
Yes.
But I love that you call it woman. How do you say
Woman,
woman
manifesting, womb,
manifesting? Yes.
womb manifesting.
That's so gorgeously. I mean, I love that so much. And I feel like I practice that as much as I can in my life. And there are opportunities always that will come in and say, like you said, maybe not right now, or maybe, and you really have to discern, okay, what is that message for me? Is that message, just something for me to work with? How can I keep my sights and really continue to listen to what it is that I'm meant to create and meant
Yes.
to have?
Yes.
Um, Something else I would love for you to share about is um, the tool you use to connect women to their joy, which
Mm.
is the frame drum and the voice and sound. And
Yes.
personally, at the first time I was in one of your circles and just picked up the frame drum, which I'd never done before, and heard my own voice in it, it was just like I've just even like remembering that moment. It's such a jolt of joy to hear your own voice in that way,
Yes.
because there was no performing, there was no I need this to be good, someone's watching me, oh, my voice isn't good enough. And I think that's what was so joyful about it, was reconnecting to
Mhm.
hearing my own voice. I mean, I grew up singing as a child and talent shows and all the things, and I think eventually left that world because I didn't do it because I wanted to be first place
Mhm.
or be a famous singer.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know, if I wasn't going to do that, well, where does it fit in? And it very much fits in. So I
Yes.
want you to talk a little bit about that tool that you offer.
Yes. So the frame drum has been a life-changing instrument for me, and it's traditionally used as a hand drum, but you can sing into it. So what happens when you sound into the drum is it amplifies your voice and creates harmonics. And so that's what makes it even more beautiful when you're sounding inside the drum. It's a little portable, like, sound portal. And what why this helps bring joy to women's lives, whether so because so many of us have lost our voices.
Mm-hmm.
We have, for all the reasons, quieted ourselves. We, if we're not singers or musicians, we find our talking voice, and maybe we are masking our voice with a like a little higher, nicer voice, but we haven't really figured out what our true power voice is. We haven't allowed ourselves to explore all the different sides, places our voices can go. And the truth of the matter is, our voices are creative tools.
Mm-hmm.
The word abracadabra means as I speak, so be it.
Mm.
And we need to come to this understanding that what we are speaking and sounding out into the world is creating our reality, is vibrating out and emanating out to change what's happening around us. But if we remain quiet and silent, we are not able to utilize that tool to the greatest expression, to the greatest potential. Sounding, vocalizing is not for entertainment purposes. Sounding and vocalizing and drumming helps us to release trapped trauma and emotional clogs in our bodies and beings.
Mm-hmm.
As we allow ourselves to sound and drum and remove energy without having to think about why. Because so much of our childhood trauma is so suppressed, we can't even name it.
Mm-hmm.
but we can feel the energy of what it's doing and suppressing us and keeping us from having our channel open and being fully present in the now, which is where joy is.
Yes. Yes. And when you have that in your hands and you're in a circle of women and you're not thinking about what do I look like or sound like. You can even hide behind the drum if you need to,
Mhm.
right? Until you start to practice hearing it more and more and more and more. And then you're just like, ah, it's so healing. It is moving through you and almost in a way, I don't know if this is weird and I don't care, but it's almost falling in love with yourself again in a way that you're falling in love with the sound of your voice and you're not little by little,
Yes.
if that makes sense. So that's so powerful. And I do believe that as someone who facilitates breath work, these tools that we can embody and move the energy through to heal what these past traumas is absolutely next level healing.
It is. And the whole idea of vibrating at a higher frequency and knowing and learning what that feels like to be in a bliss state, both through breath work and through sounding. Sounding is another form of breath work because you're using your breath for it.
Mhm.
But that's the potential of where we're heading as human beings is knowing that we can naturally, individually move ourselves into higher ecstatic states. And
Mm.
the more our body knows that it can do that, the more we will do it, not only for ourselves but then in community. And
Mhm.
then what the possibility for creation and co-creation is from those higher ecstatic states is really beyond our imagination at this present time.
It really is. And we have access to these tools. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have these conversations with women who are out there teaching these tools because they're not inaccessible. They're not things that are only for some people.
Right.
These are accessible for all of us. And I think it's just about knowing about them and try, practicing them and being in them a little bit more and a little bit more. Um, because I believe joy is what we all seek. I mean,
Mm.
it is what we seek. Right. And so thank you for sharing about that because I think it's so important. Um, on that note, where can people find you? Like, what is something that you have coming up? I know I'll share too. You're going to be at my retreat in October,
Oh, yes.
um, leading us through some sound and drumming, which I'm so excited to have you there. But where else can people find you? What do you have coming up?
So my website is Frame Drum Wisdom, www.framedrumwisdom. I also have a new creation underway called Resounding Wholeness. And so Frame Drum Wisdom is definitely more focused on the sound aspect of what I share and teach. Resounding Wholeness is going to be an umbrella of a lot of different modalities, including artistic expression. I do a watercolor process. Gene keys, which you and I have started going down. I know that I'm called to bring gene keys to a higher level to more people. And just other things like other modalities, bringing guest facilitators in with the breath work, with different opportunities for connection. So resounding wholeness is about a lot of different natural tools. Oh, flower essences, which we're going to be talking about at my next women's circle. So I hold monthly women's circles in my home. I have different sound circle experiences happening around Nashville, and I am traveling more, so I'm willing to travel to share what I do. I am opening my classes up to men this year.
Yeah.
In the last 8 years, it really has been focused around women, but I feel like there's many men who are changing and transitioning where they're willing to connect with the more receptive feminine spirit guidance method and way. So I'm letting men come in certain classes. I also have once a month at the Whiteman Chapel at Scarrett Bennett Center. You've come is an evening of healing sound, poetry, and prayer. And this is my offering of bringing beautiful human beings together, diverse human beings together, to bring about sound in a whole other level. I believe chapels, I believe churches were intended to be sonic chambers, sound chambers, allowing that high level resonance to move through us and change us at depth. So I'm finding a way to bringing back the value and power of that for every human being and bringing good vibrations to all human beings in that space. So that's the second Wednesday of the month, uh,
Mm.
from 7 to 8 p.m. in Nashville. So,
Yes. I have
yeah,
to just say real quick.
yes.
First of all, I'm so excited you're opening your offerings up to men. I feel like it's so needed, and I can't wait personally to have my husband attend some of these with me. But second, the Scarrett Bennett Center event that I went to, it was so I want to say fun, but it was fun to be in the audience
Mm-hmm.
and just witness. I'm an observer. So, of course, I'm observing people experiencing it and just like seeing them feel, just seeing them feel. And it was so beautiful. And then there was this one point, and there was all kinds of feelings happening throughout the night, that I was noticing people have, and just different, their body language changing. And then I think towards the end, one of the women led us through kind of a fun drum song, like "Move Your
Yes.
Body for Your Soul."
Yes.
And it was so fun to see all ages just light up. And it was just, I was giggling because I was just like, wow. I mean, the power of just being, first of all, back in community,
Mm-hmm.
and being in a space that's just dedicated to poetry and prayer and music and forms of expression where people can feel.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to go to the next one. Although with a broken foot, I may not go to this next one. But I just wanted to say, for anyone listening, if you're local, go to that.
Yes. I also want to share that I do have private clients too. If you're not ready to, or you live far away, I can do Zoom sessions with people. I can get drums in your hands. I'm a mindful sonic energy dealer, so I have access to all the sound healing instruments that are becoming popular that I sell as well. But for me, my joy is truly helping other people experience their own power, their own voice, their own rhythm, their own creative expression. And it literally lights me up when I see someone have a transformative moment where they get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know what that's like. Same. That's why we connect, you and I.
Yes.
Um, so I want to just close out today with, is there a prayer or a wish that you would like to offer the women listening as we close out today?
Okay. So I wrote this earlier and it's really important for me to say. I said, who you are and who you came here to be is important for the healing of humanity and the earth. The actions you take to support your own healing will ripple out and affect the world in a very important way. As you bloom, as you allow yourself to bloom to the fullness of who you came here to be, the garden will become even more beautiful.
Mm. Karen Renee, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, sister.
Thank you. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much. See you soon.
Okay.
Mwah.